Indianapolis Colts, they will open up camp tomorrow, Anderson University. Some questions that need to be answered, and we bring in a guy who knows what he's talking about when it comes to the Colts, Mike Chappell from the Indianapolis Star. Good afternoon, Mike. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. Colts open up camp tomorrow. Obviously, there's some questions, some issues they're facing, and you get a chance to be with that team more frequently than the rest of us here, so we thought we'd bring you on for a little bit. Appreciate the time and see what you know, pick your brain a little bit. And let's start with Reggie Wayne. Obviously, has been a cornerstone of that offense for so many years, and then that ACL tear, that Denver game last year. Have you had the chance to talk to Reggie? Where's he at mentally, physically, and how's he feel about the upcoming season?
Yeah, we talked to him at the end of their off-season work in mid to late June, and he's ready to go. He didn't participate in any work during the off-season, which was planned. He said he's going to be ready to go. Now, we'll see how much they throw him out there right away, or my inclination is they'll sort of ease him in and not overdo things early on. But he's ready to prove people, those people who don't think a guy that's 35 coming off an ACL can still be a viable player. He wants to prove those people wrong. So he has super motivation to come back and play well this year.
Well, we know if anything with Reggie, he doesn't need much motivation. He's pretty much a pedal to the metal kind of guy all the time. Now, do you see him with the addition of Hakeem Nicks and bringing in Dante Moncrief and having T.Y. Hilton out there? Can he be that integral part of the offense for the Colts like he used to be, or are we seeing kind of the downside of his career being at the age of 35 and with the ACL tear? Will he be more of a situational kind of guy? How do you think they're going to play him?
Yeah, well, he is on the downside because, like you said, he's 35. He's probably got another couple of years in him. But I think what's important for Reggie to come back to be kind of the guy that he's always been is then it allows everybody else to be where they need to be, and allows Hakeem Nicks to be maybe the number 2 guy, T.Y. Hilton to be the number 3 guy, and then Moncrief to be moved in as a forward where he's not has to do a ton early on but can learn things. So that's ideal. Now, if Reggie's not where he's back to playing, the 95% of the snaps, and it forces everybody else to play a different role, which isn't ideal. But, again, I think he'll come back and be the 85 catch guy. And I hate to use the word possession guy because that's kind of what he's been, but he's just always been there for that 3rd and 6 where you know he's going to be. And if he's that kind of player again, I think it'll be a strong offense, strong passing game, but we'll see how Reggie comes along.
Now let's talk about a little bit the offensive line. Obviously, there's been some major holes there with Andrew Luck's first 2 years in the league. Where do you see them? Are they getting better? Is there a chance that we may see a solidification, so to speak, of that offensive line this year with some of the players they brought in?
Well, we'll see, because that's the big thing is they've had Luck's been sacked over 70 times in 2 seasons, which is way too much, and that doesn't take into account how much he's been hit as he's tried to throw. So we'll see. I mean, they're going to have a new center. They get rid of Samson Satili and really didn't address it. They're going to go with last year's 4th-round pick, Khalid Holmes, who played all of 12 plays last year, which it wouldn't be too concerning that he only played that much, but it's just that he was in a position that they really needed help at center and guard, and he couldn't get on the field. So I'm not too concerned with the tackles, Anthony Costanzo and Gazer Cheramis. I'm concerned about the guards and the center because you'll have a first-year guy playing center, and the guards are sort of up in the air, whether it's going to be Hugh Thornton again, or their first pick this year, Jack Mewhort, or whether Donald Thomas can come back from 2 major injuries. So, but they've got to get the offensive line fixed because it just disrupts both the passing and the running game when the offensive line doesn't get its job done.
Mike, a big question that a lot of people are concerned about, Robert Mathis, flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, has been kind of the Reggie Wayne of defense, if you will. He's the name there in Indy, and he's out the first 4 games with this suspension. Who's getting the big talk about replacing Mathis for these 4 games, or will it be kind of a committee of players?
Yeah, that was an issue before the suspension came down. Last year he had 19.5 sacks, and the second guy had 5.5. You just can't have that kind of a reliance on one player. So going into the offseason, it was important who was going to step up. And now, with him missing the first 4 games, it's even more so. So, I mean, they're looking at the guys they looked at last year. First-round pick Bjorn Werner, who only had 2.5 sacks last year. Eric Walden, who's a strong side linebacker. They're hoping that Art Jones, a free agent pickup from Baltimore, will help. But there's no question someone has to step up because you just can't have one guy. It's just not smart to have one guy carrying the load. I'm surprised that he got the kind of production he got last year because he was the only real threat, yet teams couldn't stop him. So someone has to step up, whether it's Werner or Walden or Jones or this year's fifth-round draft pick, Jonathan Newsom. Somebody has to step up because you can't have that much reliance on one guy over a long period and expect to get away with it.
Let me ask you, there's a name I saw online yesterday, and a guy that I personally am kind of excited to see. I'm kind of anxious to see if he gets some playing time this year, and maybe he's a guy that could step in for Mathis. What about Daniel Adongo?
I think he's still a year away. Maybe I'm wrong, but we talked to the position coach, and he keeps saying this guy just needs to play. He played very sparingly last year. And I tell you, when you want to talk about, if you're going to get in a barroom fight, you want Daniel Adongo on your side. This guy's huge. He put on about 25 pounds in the off season, and it's all muscle. But he's just not played linebacker much. He's been special teams guy, practice squad most of last year. So I guess I'd be surprised if he's much of a contributor this year, at least on defense. Maybe he will get worked in some, but he's still learning how to play the game. I mean, last year was his first year to play American football. So I'm not saying he won't play much this year. I just think that he needs another year to really learn the system, learn how to play football.
You mentioned a couple of rookies, and we mentioned Dante Moncrief a little bit earlier. Is there any one of these rookies in this draft class this year that can step in your opinion, and make an impact right away?
I think there's a chance that Jack Mewhort, the second-round pick, could do that. He spent the offseason working at left guard with the first unit. Part of that was because Donald Thomas, last year's opening day starter, he missed all of off season, almost all of last year with biceps and quadriceps injuries. And now whether he's going to be able to come back and play at a high level this year, I don't know. But I won't be surprised if Jack Mewhort figures into that interior mix, either at left guard, right guard. He gives him a lot of versatility. He can play center in a pinch, which he did at Ohio State. So I think Mewhort and I think Dante Moncrief, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jonathan Newsom, the pass rusher from Ball State, gets some looks maybe as a situational pass rusher.
Well, stepping away from the future and into the present a little bit, Mike, you've been there for a while, and I don't know how close you were to Tony Dungy when he was there, but obviously that's a name that's hit the sports news wire heavily the last couple of days. Your thoughts on that and just your opinion. I think they might have kind of jumped the gun and threw Tony under the bus a little bit. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, because it's hard to know what the context was, and I saw his response today sort of clarified things, and it just sounded like he answered a question, and there weren't a lot of other follow-ups and all this. And my initial thought was, I thought his comments were as a football coach. And if I'm a football coach, once training camp starts, even the off-season, the last thing you want is a distraction. You want your guys focused on what they're doing, on the game, on their practice. And anyone who thinks that Michael Sampson's not going to be a distraction is crazy. It's what I found out, like in Indianapolis, is if we've never had anything at that level, but if you have a controversy, the local media deal with it the first day, and it's gone. You're done with it. Well, but with this, you're going to have different national people come in every day. And with Michael Sam, it's not only going to be sports media, it's going to be, the news media, whether it's, NBC, ABC, CBS, or whatever. And that's going to be a distraction. So I just think he thought that the comments that I read into was, as a coach, the fact that this is a seventh-round pick, might not make your roster, was the risk of the distraction worth the player? And that's what I thought. Now, if there was more than that, I'd apologize. But I think Tony was saying, I don't think that the risk of bringing him in was worth a possible distraction. Not possible. The distraction is going to come with him.
It's Mike Chappell from the Indianapolis Star. Check him out at indystar.com. Follow him on Twitter. He's got the inside track on pretty much everything Colts. A good follow at mchappell, Chappell 51 is where you can find him. Mike, we appreciate the time, and hopefully we can get together again soon. Talk some more Colts, all right?
Thank you.